Chapter 6. The Holy Roman Empire Today. The emerging global government, which is currently referred to as the New World Order, is simply the most recent form of satanic global government that started with the Roman Empire prior to Jesus' birth. In its most recent state, it has centralized its power base, bioweapons labs, and money laundering operations in modern-day Ukraine. But it was at one time the very same government that was ruled by Hitler. In fact, as the Bible tells us, the beast will have 10 horns, defined as 10 successive kings or leaders. Hitler, with all of the death and destruction that he had ushered into Europe and other parts of the world, was merely its 9th head. The 10th and final head is yet to come. Today, we don't have to look very far or long to see that many modern-day governments and government officials are already in bed and operating in cahoots with this beast, the government that gets its power and authority from Satan. And all of these people who very openly support the New World Order are actually supporting the government that put Jesus to death 2,000 years ago. A far-reaching comparison? Consider what Jesus told the wicked people in government of his time. He confronted them in the same way that we could easily confront the wicked and satanic people in governments today. Matthew 23, verse 30. And you say, if we had been living in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partners with them in shedding the blood of our prophets. Jesus was pointing out their own evil nature to them, their mob mentality, the way in which they had for generations upon generations so blindly fallen into the deceptive brainwashing strategies of Satan. They may have scoffed at their ancestors who murdered the prophets, but Jesus was pointing out that they were of the same evil mindset. In fact, they were cut from the same cloth as their relatives before them. Our modern-day society is very similar. Generation after generation, we have progressively fallen away from the truth. As a culture, we have become evil and have fallen prey to deception and brainwashing. Traditionally, it has been the liberals and socialists in general, and more specifically the American Democratic Party leaders, that have had so very proudly and arrogantly denounced God and Jesus and the Bible. Regarding the blood of the saints and of Jesus himself, and the blood of the entire Jewish population throughout history, including in Europe during World War II, we could say something very similar to what Jesus said to the people of his time. To the Democrats of today, we could say, and you say that had you been living in the time of the prophets, or the time of Jesus, or the time of Hitler's Nazi Germany, you wouldn't have taken part in the shedding of the prophet's blood, or the crucifixion of Jesus, or the murder of 6 million Jews. But the truth is, they most likely would have. Very recently, Russia launched military operations in Ukraine. The fake news, which of course is merely the propaganda arm of the beast, began immediately calling this operation an invasion, and began demonizing Putin as a bloodthirsty, power-hungry madman. They even began posting pictures of war atrocities from the past, saying that they were taken in towns and battlefields of today during Putin's invasion. Have a little fun and prove to yourself the utter deceitfulness of the fake news. Go on the computer and go back to the early days of Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Find news photographs of various war atrocities. Right-click on the photos. Click Copy Image Address. and paste it into the search bar at tineye.com. TINEYE.com. The program will show you the date when the photo was first published. You will find that many of the early photos of the invasion had been first published 5 years earlier or longer, from an entirely different war situation. It definitely begs the question, why would the news try to pass off old war scenes as current events in Ukraine? The answer is that they had to get ahead and control the deceitful narrative, brainwashing the public into thinking Putin had lost his mind and was committing war crimes all over Ukraine. But what the dishonest fake news didn't tell the people is what Putin himself said to the world regarding his objectives for invading Ukraine, which was to denazify the Ukrainian government. Denazify the Ukrainian government. Remove the Nazis and the supporters of the New World Order from Ukraine. Remove a government supported by the U.S., which the Bible tells us has been given its authority directly from Satan. Ukraine has become a hotbed and a shelter for the development of the New World Order, for the emergence of the beast. Look who its supporters are: George Soros, Klaus Schwab, Hillary Clinton, CNN, Nancy Pelosi, Hollywood, Sean Penn, George Clooney, Chuck Schumer. The list goes on and on. These are the people and entities who are supporting the beast, which has received its authority from Satan. The Bible gives us understanding. When we realize what the beast is, what it has been throughout history, and what it is in our modern world, we can hear and understand everything with such great clarity. For example, when we hear a Hollywood celebrity or politician say, "I stand with Ukraine," or "We support Ukraine," we can cut right through the malarkey. And, with our own knowledge and insight, understand what they're really saying. I stand with Hitler's government. I stand with the same government that put Jesus to death. I stand with Satan himself. And it is no secret or mystery as to which American political party stands with Ukraine. The Democrats. And which Canadian leader stands with Ukraine? Trudeau. We can actually use this single statement as a sort of litmus test to see who in the world is standing with Satan's government. Modi in India, Macron in France, Schultz in Germany, Lula in Brazil, Maduro in Venezuela. The list goes on and on. All liberal globalists, just like the Democrat Party in America. The beast from the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation is alive and well in our modern world, and is currently screaming loudly from the stronghold of the New World Order, Ukraine.